friends, and welcome back to my channel. I am so happy here. Welcome to another weekly vlog. I'm gonna do a what I realistically read in a week, working a full-time job. I work 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, and then also do some content, and of course I also have some hobbies and friends that I want to meet up with. So I'm just gonna take you along for the next 2 days and talk about what I'm reading. It is currently 6 p.m. on Sunday. So unfortunately, the weekend is almost over. I'm in the office all day tomorrow, and then I have my jazz class tomorrow night. But I've been pretty much reading all day, but I've read some books for another video, so I have all of that in probably my previous video when you're watching this. But I managed to finish 3 books, 2 physical books and 1 audiobook. I started them all a couple of days ago. I just finished them today. But that's what I did all day. But since I've read only cozy, witchy fantasy books for the past like 1.5 weeks, I definitely wanted to switch things up and read something different. So I started a new audiobook today. I started listening to The Intruder by Frida McFadden, which is her latest release. I've read pretty much all of her books, so of course I also had to pick up this one. I'm not going to talk too much about the plot because I feel like with Frida's books, it's best if you go into them completely blind. But we follow Casey, who lives in this very secluded cabin, and there's a storm coming up, which she's preparing for, and she has a feeling that somebody else is not really in her cabin, but very close by. She thinks that she sees this face in her window, and then there's suddenly a flashlight on in her tool shed. So that's where I'm at in the book right now. I'm curious to see how it's gonna go. We have 2 different POVs, so I'm interested to see what that is about, because the second girl we follow apparently is still in high school, and she has this very toxic hoarder mom. Right now, I don't really see a connection between the 2 of them. I'm assuming that the girl is the person in Casey's cabin, but we're gonna see. Like I said, I've been reading all day, so I think I'm gonna be a little bit productive now. I'm gonna keep listening to my audiobook and do some planning stuff for the upcoming week. And then I'm gonna sit down and maybe start a new physical book. I could read The Intruder on my Kindle since it's on Kindle Unlimited, but I think I'm going to keep listening to it on audio for now. I'm now 36% into The Intruder, and I'm not loving it so far. Nothing has really happened yet. Ella, who's the high school girl I told you about, definitely has a very abusive mother. Not only is she a hoarder, which is a form of abuse itself, but she's also physically and mentally abusive towards Ella. So that's definitely very dark, but nothing thriller-ish has happened yet, which kind of confuses me. So I'm not sure what to think about it yet. I loved Frida's books when I first started reading them, and they're still fun. I mean, I still pick up every new release by her, and there are a lot of new releases by her, because I feel like she doesn't sleep. And I'm pretty sure that she's a surgeon. Like, that's her main job. And she just writes books for fun on the side, which is crazy. There hasn't been a Frida book in a while that I really, really loved. They're all just really average and not really great. Like, I feel like the writing quality is definitely lacking because of the quantity. But like I said, they're still fun, so I'm still gonna read them. But it is not even 8 p.m, but I think I'm gonna get ready for bed now because I am getting tired already, which probably isn't a surprise. But I'm hoping to read at least a few pages in bed before I fall asleep. And I want to start reading People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young. This was also just released a few weeks ago. I've read 3 out of the 4 books that have been released by Hannah Bonham Young before this one, and I loved all of them, so I'm really excited to go into this. I've heard mixed reviews about this, but this is fall themed, at least assuming based on the cover, so I definitely wanted to read this before fall is over. So that's what I'm gonna start now. I'm not really sure what this is about. I have read the synopsis, a few weeks ago, but I don't really remember. So I'm going to talk about it once I'm further into this book, hopefully tomorrow. Good morning. I'm going to give you a more detailed reading update later when I get back from work, but I have to leave like right now. But I'm 52% into The Intruder, and I did have a theory, but I think that one was wrong. I do have another one now, but with Frida's books, you never know. But I'm slowly getting into it. Like, I'm definitely liking it more than the last time I updated you, and I do get more thriller vibes now, so that is great. I just got back home from work and I was so excited for my jazz class tonight because it's the first Monday in like almost 2 months that I don't have a headache, so I would have been able to go today, but my coach just cancelled. I still want to move my body at least a little, and it's too late to go for a walk because the sun sets in like half an hour and I don't want to walk through the woods in the dark. So I think I'm just gonna do a short at-home workout and then take a shower, and I guess now I have the rest of the night to just read. I told you that I would give you a reading update. I haven't read anything today, so that's all for yesterday. I am going to count the pages I read each day to give you more insights into what I realistically read in a week, starting from today. But since I finished a few books for another video yesterday, I'm not going to count yesterday. But like I think I've mentioned, I'm 55% into The Intruder. I'm not fully convinced yet. It is getting a little better, but I don't really care that much about the story so far. I also started reading People Watching. I am on chapter 6, so page 65, and I'm really enjoying this so far. I'm not the biggest fan of Milo, who's our MMC, but I'm enjoying this a lot so far, but it's no surprise considering I left all of Hannah Bottom Young's other books. This is about Prudence, who stayed in the small town she grew up in. She works at her dad's gas station / grocery store and cares for her mother, who has early onset Alzheimer's, and she has no experiences regarding relationships or anything sexual or anything like that. She's very innocent in that regard. So when she meets Milo, who's pretty much the opposite of her, his whole body is full of tattoos. He never stays in one place. He constantly travels, has different jobs all of the time, and he just seems to be afraid of commitment. But he comes to the small town Prudence lives in to help his brother with his brewery. So that's how they meet, and they make a no strings attached agreement since Prudence wants some new experiences and Milo is interested in her but doesn't want to settle down. But obviously it's gonna turn into something more at some point. It definitely is pretty deep and dark, I guess, like all of Hannah Bottom Young's books are. You can really feel the pressure on Prudence reading this because she pretty much gave up her whole life to care for her mom. She didn't go to college. She stayed in her small town. She doesn't have any friends. She doesn't have any hobbies. She basically just lives for her mom. And while I totally get that, it's obviously not good for her. So we get a lot of insights into that. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Milo yet, but hopefully that's still gonna change. And then I also started a third book yesterday. I know that my reading is all over the place all of the time, but I pretty much always need an audiobook, a physical book, and a book on my Kindle. So I also started a book on my Kindle. I started reading The Charting Method by Elle Kennedy. I'm only on chapter 2, which is page 28, so I don't know a lot about it yet. I did enjoy the first 2 books in the series, which is called the Campus Diaries series, and I'm buddy reading this one with a friend of mine. I also have ordered Alchemized. I wasn't sure if I would pick this book up. I mean, it's obviously very, very hyped, but I didn't know anything about it, and it's also very intimidating considering that it has over 1,000 pages. but another friend of mine and I decided that we will buddy read it. And she got her copy on Saturday and my book was supposed to arrive today. But since I was at the office, the delivery failed. I think they're gonna try again tomorrow, but I was hoping that they were just gonna put it in front of my door. So that is a little disappointing, but I mean, I do have enough reading material for now, and I'm definitely gonna stop talking now. I feel like this is gonna be a very chatty vlog because I can't stop talking. But it is 10:30 and I did end up working again. But I did listen to my audiobook while doing that, and I'm now 86% into The Intruder. I was kind of right with my first theory, so I was proud of that. But there was one big plot twist, I guess, that I didn't see coming at all. And I have so many questions right now. And I only have an hour left of the audiobook and I don't know how this is all gonna wrap up. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I can't stop listening. I'm getting pretty tired, so I'm probably not gonna finish this tonight, but it will be the first thing I do tomorrow morning. Good morning. I somehow woke up pretty early this morning. It's 6:30 right now and I've been sitting at my desk for a while, but I just finished listening to The Intruder and I'm gonna rate it 2 stars. What is going on with my hair? We're gonna ignore that. I have to wash it after work. I do have to say the writing style or the narration style was definitely different from her other books. So that's cool that she's trying out different things. But the story was just so unbelievable. Some plot twists were surprising in a good way, but most of them just didn't make any sense. And I also didn't get that thriller feeling. It definitely was very creepy, considering that it was set at the secluded cabin during a storm at night, but it didn't feel like a thriller for the majority of the book. It's definitely a quick read. Like all of her books, I read it in like 1.5 days or listened to it, but that's it. Like, I'm not gonna think about it ever again. I really do have a love-hate relationship with her books. I'll probably always pick them up, but I never loved them, or haven't in a long time. But that's it for that. I'm currently uploading my last reading vlog and then I guess I'll start work. I'll probably talk to you during my lunch break and hopefully I will get some more reading done today because I barely read anything yesterday. I only read 2 more chapters of The Charlie Method, but that was it. So hopefully I will read some more today. I did not have the best first impression of Milo, but I'm really starting to like him. And the banter between the two of them. I feel so giddy reading this. I'm constantly giggling. It's so fun. I feel like he really enjoys rage baiting her because she just gets so embarrassed and awkward with how open he is about everything, especially more intimate things. And it's the funniest thing ever. They're mowing the lawn outside. Hopefully you can't hear that because I can even hear it with my noise cancelling headphones on. But he's also getting along great with Prue's dad and they both speak Russian, so they bonded immediately and I love watching that. And I think I haven't mentioned that, but Milo was actually one of Prue's mom's students. And her mom really impacted Milo's life. He became an artist because of her mom. So I love the fact that they have been kind of connected for so long without knowing each other. I just love Hannah Bonham Young's books. They're so good. I still want to film a video today, but my phone was about to die, so as long as my phone charges, I'm gonna keep reading People Watching. Hannah Bonham is really becoming one of my favorite authors of all time. Her writing style is so beautiful. I have to read you this paragraph. A few paragraphs before that, Milo says, "It hits me again at what may be the most inopportune time how beautiful she is." And then a few paragraphs later, he says, "It's a too tight feeling in my chest, an itch that can't be scratched, the creeping vine of a feeling I've yet to experience and yet instinctively know, latching onto my ankle and threatening to cover me whole. Something to be avoided, stopped and cut off." I mean, I'm pretty sure that he talks about falling in love with Prudence here, but just the way Hannah Bonham expresses the character's thoughts into words, I'm completely obsessed. And I also love, Prudence and Milo have known each other for like 2 days at this point, but when one of them needs somebody, they're immediately there for each other, which is so heartwarming, especially for Prudence, since she doesn't have any friends and is just really cut off from everything because of caring for her mom. So as you can tell, I am absolutely loving this book. Prudence is a Virgo. I may be biased, but Virgos are the best. It makes sense that I like her. Oh my god! And Prudence just turned 25. So that means that we're exactly the same age. It is 6:30. I'm back from work. I don't have any plans for the rest of the night, but I do have a headache again. I still want to try to read. I'm on page 160 of People Watching, so I'm pretty much exactly halfway through the book. And I would like to finish this today because I'm really enjoying it, but I'm just gonna see how I feel. But that's my update. That's what I'm gonna do tonight. I've also read some more of The Charlie Method today. I'm like 20% into that book now, and I think I haven't talked about the plot of that, so I'm also gonna do that later. But for right now, we're gonna continue reading People Watching. I've been constantly tearing up for like the last 10 minutes. I have to read you this paragraph. I wouldn't say it's a spoiler because it's a romance book. Obviously, they get together at some point, but if you don't want to know anything about it, just skip the next part. But Prue says, "Up until recently, I felt as if no one could really see me at all. I spent so much of my life watching other people live, believing I was meant to observe from the other side of the door. Milo is the first person who has made that door open for me, who has made me feel as if I am worth seeing too. To him, I am a special, watchable, fascinating, beautiful thing worth creating art about." I love this book so much. I just finished People Watching, and I knew that the reviews of this book were pretty mixed. I'm gonna rate it 5 stars. I don't care. I really don't care. I put my rating on Goodreads before going into the reviews because I knew that there would be so much hate, and then I would doubt myself if this was actually a 5-star read, but it was a 5-star read for me. But then I looked at the reviews and there were so many 1-star ratings, even from people I know, like not personally, but people I watch on booktube and stuff like that, and I don't get it. Like, I do have to say this was definitely very insta-lovey, and I'm usually not the biggest fan of that trope, but I didn't mind in this one. And there was also a lot of smut, which I'm also usually not the biggest fan of, but I really like the smut in here. So many people were hating on Milo, and I mean, I also didn't love him at the start of this book. In my opinion, he was such a green flag towards the end of the book, and he worked so much on himself to be worthy of Prudence. So I loved him, and this book made me so happy and so emotional, and it's definitely one of my favorite reads this year, and I'm not gonna let those low ratings change my opinion of that. I feel like I haven't had a 5-star read in a while, so that makes me very happy. It's only 8:30, so I do kind of still want to read something before you go to bed, but I'm not sure what. I'm on page 124, so on chapter 12 of the Charlie Method, but since I'm buddy reading this book and I'm waiting for my friend to finish the chapters, I don't really want to continue that right now. I mean, I would want to because I'm really enjoying it, but I want to wait for her. So I'm not going to continue reading that right now, but I'm going to give you a quick summary of the plot. The Charlie Method is the third book in the Campus Diaries series, and that series follows the kids from the off-campus characters. I've read the off-campus series years ago, but I really enjoyed the first 2 books in the Campus Diaries series. So I definitely wanted to pick up the third one. It's a college romance, and we follow Charlie, who's kind of living a double life. That sounds very traumatic, but she's this very driven student and just overall an overachiever. She's in this like high society sorority, and she wants to impress her parents and all of that stuff, but she secretly also hooks up with a lot of guys. And she downloaded this dating app where she matched with 2 anonymous guys. The 2 of them have a profile together, so she starts chatting with them, but both of them attend the same college and she knows them. But I'm not at the point yet where she finds out about that. But I mean, they also don't know that she is the one they're texting, so they're all not aware that they know each other personally. But that's pretty much it. I definitely wasn't aware that this would follow 3 people. I think it's gonna be a why choose romance. I haven't read a lot of those, so that's really fun. And I'm really enjoying it so far. But now I still don't know what I'm gonna read next. I do have 2 options. It's October 23rd, I think. And I have one more book on my October TBR, which is Cat Dragon by Samantha Birch. But if you've seen my last video, I read those cozy witchy books for 1.5 weeks straight, and I don't feel like reading another one of them right now. But I also do want to complete my TBR, so I don't know. And then my next option is Alchemized. I don't know anything about this, but it's obviously very hyped, and I'm just very basic. I have to jump on the hype train. I've decided to buddy read this with a friend. She also hasn't started yet, so I'm in no rush, but it's a very big book. It has like 1,000 pages, and the pages are so thin. My friend said that it feels like reading a Bible, and it truly does. But I'm really curious to see what the hype is all about, so I'm thinking about starting this one. We decided on reading 10 chapters at a time. So I have like 140 pages to read. So maybe I'm gonna start that now. Like I said, I don't know anything about it and I'm very intimidated, but I'm also excited. It's been pouring rain all morning. It's so dark outside. So I would love to just stay in bed and read all day, but I have to start work in a few minutes. But I've been watching my bestie's YouTube video this morning and I'm gonna make myself some breakfast. I totally forgot that my grandma made me this small jar of fig jam. She even wrote my name on it. She's the cutest. So I'm gonna put that on some sourdough and then I'm gonna start work. I really don't want to. Hi friends, I think I haven't talked to you at all today. I've been working, filming some content, and then I went to the post office to pick up a package, but it was closed. So that was fun. I then went to my doctor's office because I have to get some blood work done and my heart checked because of my ADHD meds. So I made an appointment for that and now I just got groceries. I wrapped up work for today, so I'm finally in my reading corner and I'm so excited because I don't have any plans for tonight. So we're just gonna read. I'm in a really good mood. I just put on a fall fantasy ambiance on YouTube. I'm gonna put my fantasy playlist on. I have my iced coffee. Life is just good right now. But I have some reading updates. Like I said, I started reading Alchemized. I only read like 10 chapters last night, but I read some more today. I'm now on page 68, so I think like chapter 4. And I'm actually really enjoying it so far, surprisingly. Like, not really surprisingly. I didn't really have any expectations going into this because I didn't know anything about the book and also haven't read Manacled. I think you don't have to read Manacled before reading this one. As far as I understood, it's pretty much not a retelling. What's the right word for that? Like, Alchemized is the rewritten story of Manacled, I think. I'm not sure. But that's why I went into it without any expectations and completely blind. But I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm loving the writing style. And this world is also very interesting. But this is a very dark standalone fantasy novel. And it's set after a bad war between alchemists and necromancers. But we follow our main character, Lena. Hopefully that's how her name is pronounced. And she was once a very promising alchemist and also healer. But after the war, she gets captured. And at the start of this book, she wakes up without any memories in this kind of magical prison. And I just read to the part where she's sent to this estate so that they can try to unlock her memories and find out what she's hiding. So I'm very intrigued to know what's gonna happen. I think I've never read a book that was this dark. I mean, we deal with necromancers. They pretty much bring dead people back to life, and the corpses that are now kind of alive again keep rotting. So it's definitely not for the faint-hearted, but I'm still enjoying it. Like I said, I'm still really confused and I don't really know what's going on. And I'm probably also not going to talk too much about the plot, but we're just going to see. I'm going to sit down and read some more of this now. I think I've mentioned that I'm buddy reading this, so I can only read the first 10 chapters, and then I'm going to wait for my friend. So I think I have about 100 pages left to read, so I'm pretty sure that we're going to finish this today. And I know I said that I wasn't in the mood to read Cat Dragon, but I only read 10 pages of Alchemized last night and I was so tired I went to bed and I wanted to read a book on my Kindle, and that's why I started reading Cat Dragon. I'm only 5% into this, so I don't really know what it's about yet, but right now I'm definitely going to focus on Alchemized. have the best day yesterday, so I didn't really feel like picking up my camera, so that's why I didn't update you. But it's currently 7 p.m. on Saturday. I filmed my November TBR today and that took ages. And then I just did nothing because I was so exhausted somehow and I didn't really feel like going to my heels class. But like I've mentioned before, I have to work on my blood pressure, so I forced myself to go and I did have a good time. So I'm glad I went. I just took a quick shower and my boyfriend's gonna come over in like 10 minutes, so I'm gonna keep this short. But I have some reading updates. I didn't read any more of Alchemized because I'm waiting for my friend to finish the chapters. I also haven't read any more of the Charlie Method, but my friend texted me today that she finished those chapters, so I can continue that tomorrow. I have also read some more of Cat Dragon today. I'm now on chapter 7, so page 73. I'm not loving this so far. I do like the premise of this, but I'm not enjoying the writing style, and the world building is kind of all over the place in my opinion, so I'm a little conflicted. I'm still gonna continue this, I'm not gonna DNF it, but it's not my favorite so far. But I think I haven't talked about the plot of this at all yet. This is set in Tangled Valley, which is a whimsical and magical world. And in this world, every witch bonds with a familiar called a cat dragon. You can see one on the cover. They're so cute. They're half dragon, half cat, and they're adorable. And the cat dragon that the witch bonds with reflects their nature or personality. And our main character is Aloysia. She runs a magical pumpkin patch. She has this magical farm with different kinds of animals. And she is really proud of that, but she has yet to bond with a cat dragon. It's very unusual in this world for a witch not to bond with one, so that really weighs on her. And I've just been starting to read this part, but when she finally bonds with a cat dragon, she and her best friend's brother Hollis are sent on a quest to a mysterious mountain. And Aloysia and Hollis don't really get along at all, but they are faced with different magical adventures on their journey, so they kind of have to rely on each other and grow closer. Right now this feels like a cozy fantasy. The world building is pretty complex for a cozy fantasy, but it's not really explained that well. I'm not fully convinced yet, but we're gonna see. I'm just gonna continue this. Hopefully I'm gonna like it better the further I get into it. I have also started a new audiobook. I started listening to The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic. I'm only like 10% into that one, so I'm gonna talk more about it probably tomorrow. I know this vlog is really chaotic and I'm just all over the place with my reading, but I started another book because I didn't have the best day yesterday, but I did read quite a lot. I started reading Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. I've heard so much about this series, especially Olivia from Olivia Reads a Latte. She's probably my favorite booktuber ever, and she binged the series and talked really highly of it, and the premise of it sounded so fun and unique, so I wanted to pick it up, and I just saw that it's available on Kindle Unlimited, so obviously I had to start it. I am already on page 144, so I'm 32% into the book, and I'm loving it so far. It's probably the funniest book I've ever read. I've been laughing out loud at some points, and that never happens. The world as we know it has collapsed in this world, and this alien corporation has used everything that has been on Earth, like every building, everything, to build an underground multi-level dungeon, and they're forcing the humans that survive that into this deadly game that is televised as like a reality TV show for aliens. This just sounds so absurd, and it is really silly, but it's so fun. We follow our main character Carl. He's this very average guy. He's like 27, just recently broke up with his ex-girlfriend, but when this apocalypse happened, he took care of her cat. So they both end up together in this dungeon and they now have to face different challenges, and the cat ends up being able to talk. So we follow the two of them trying to survive. But like I said, it's all streamed as a TV show for aliens, so they also have to entertain them to gain followers and views to eventually level up and hopefully survive the dungeons. Because after a few days, each level collapses, and if you weren't able to get into the next level of the dungeon, you just die. So it is definitely very brutal because we read about those fights with different kinds of monsters and there's a lot of gore, but it's so funny at the same time. Like, for example, there are these goblins, and Donut, who's the cat, named them Lorelei and Rory. How can I see what I highlighted? And they also earn these achievements just like in a video game, and Carl earned the achievement of Crazy Cat Lady just in the beginning. Happy Sunday. It's 11:30 a.m. I had a very slow morning and now I'm just editing my YouTube video. I wasn't really productive yesterday, so maybe I can get some work done today, but I'm also gonna visit my family today. I'm gonna leave at around 1 p.m. because my aunt and uncle from Turkey are visiting, so we're gonna have some coffee at my grandma's place. And my cousin is probably also going to come over. We wanted to take some fall pictures today, but it's so stormy and it looks like it's about to rain any minute. So we decided on not doing that, and instead she's going to come over to my grandma's place and we're probably going to color. I'm going to take my markers and my coloring books with me. So that's my plan for today. I don't have a lot of reading updates. I read some more of The Charlie Method this morning. I'm now on chapter 21, so page 178, but now I'm waiting for my friend again to finish the chapters. I'm still enjoying it. I haven't read any more of Dungeon Crawler Carl, but I did read some more of Cat Dragon this morning. I'm now on chapter 11, so page 124. I'm still not the biggest fan, unfortunately. I'm not gonna DNF it. It's not a bad book, but it's also not the best book I've ever read. But I'm now at the part where they're off on their quest, so maybe it's gonna get better. I think I don't have any more updates. I'm probably gonna make myself a hot chocolate now and then just sit down and edit until I have to leave. I'm not gonna lie, I switched to the audiobook of Cat Dragon at some point today because I just don't care about the story. But I'm so bad at DNFing, so I'm just gonna push through by listening to the audiobook. But it's 9:30 on Sunday. I'm not gonna finish this book tonight. I think I'm like 60 or 70% through it, but I'm gonna go to bed now. I'm not gonna wrap up this vlog right now because I do want to give you my final thoughts on Cat Dragon, so I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna finish this book first, give you a final update, and then start a new reading vlog. So I will see you when I finally finish Cat Dragon. I have finished reading Cat Dragon and I'm gonna rate it 2 stars. If I would rate it just based on my enjoyment, I would probably drop my rating to 1 star, but I do have to say that Samantha Birch is very, very creative. Like, the premise of the story and the whole concept is super unique and creative, so that's why I'm gonna rate it 2 stars. But other than the ideas that the author had for this book, I didn't really enjoy anything about it. The writing style is what bothered me the most. It was very descriptive and flowery, but not in a good way. It just made everything so confusing. I had to reread so many parts of the story because I just didn't understand them, and at first I thought it was just me, like I'm just too dumb to get it. But I have since looked at Goodreads reviews and a lot of people felt like that. So the premise of this book was, like I mentioned, really cool, but the execution was just not that good. The world building in this definitely was pretty complex, but usually I don't mind that. It was just lacking context and descriptions of the world. And the pacing was also pretty strange. We jumped from scene to scene pretty abruptly, and that also further led me to being very confused. I also didn't really like our main character. She was pretty annoying and immature, and some of the side characters were really quirky and cute, but they were not fully developed. That's a feeling I have overall with this book. I feel like it could have used a lot more editing. I did have high hopes for this just based on the cover because it's one of the prettiest books ever, but unfortunately it didn't meet my expectations. But that's fine, you can't always read great books. But that's it for this video. I had a pretty good reading week. I definitely don't read that much every week. It definitely always depends on my mood, and sometimes I do socialize a little bit more, so I have less reading time, but I've been in a pretty big reading mood, so that's why I read quite a lot. But I hope you enjoyed watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!